Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson talk about important issues, highlights from their interview. On October 8, 2024, Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson had an engaging interview that sparked considerable discussion on social media. They tackled many important topics, including the Epstein client list and Hurricane Helene, which are central to current political discourse. Here are the main points from their conversation. 1. Heritage Foundation's goals. Musk discussed the Heritage Foundation's mission to enhance border security and reduce inflation. He emphasized that future presidential candidates should embrace traditional American values to create a safer and more prosperous nation. Musk's advocacy for these principles reflects a growing desire among some voters for a return to foundational ideals in governance. 2. Questions about the Epstein client list. A significant topic was the apparent lack of legal action against individuals linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Musk questioned why authorities are concentrating on prosecuting January 6th protesters, while those associated with Epstein remain unaccountable. This raises concerns about the integrity of the justice system and whether political motivations are preventing accountability for powerful figures. 3. Impact of immigration on elections. Musk warned that if Trump loses the next election, it could drastically reshape American democracy. He highlighted that increasing immigration in pivotal states might influence future voting patterns. This observation points to the broader implications of demographic changes on political power, urging voters to consider how these shifts could affect their representation. 4. National issues. Throughout the interview, Musk underscored the Heritage Foundation's efforts to tackle critical national issues. He discussed their commitment to protecting individual rights and combating what they describe as woke anti-human ideologies. By uniting over 100 right-wing groups, the foundation aims to provide practical solutions to pressing problems, advocating for policies that resonate with their constituents. 5. Political speculation. The conversation also delved into how the potential release of the Epstein client list could impact the upcoming election. Musk suggested that concerns about the list might explain Kamala Harris's increasing popularity. This speculation highlights the complex interplay between political narratives and public perception, emphasizing the need for transparency and accountability in leadership. Labacra's conclusion: why this conversation matters. The interview between Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson addressed tough topics that resonate with many individuals. By discussing vital issues such as government accountability, immigration, and election integrity, Musk and Carlson initiated an essential dialogue about the future of American democracy. As the nation faces these challenges, conversations like this remind us of the importance of holding our leaders accountable and advocating for policies that serve all citizens. Now, more than ever, it is crucial for viewers to engage with these discussions, question the narratives presented to them, and demand transparency from those in power. Don't just sit back and watch. Become an active participant in shaping the future of our democracy. Your voice matters, and it's time to make it heard.
Actually move forward.
There are a lot of videos, apparently. Those rooms on the island, and I think out in New Mexico, were wired for video.
And where's the video? Between Diddy and Epstein, there's probably several thousand hours of footage here.
Yeah. It's weird that the people on those videos are lecturing the rest of us about our moral failings, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
What is that?
Part of how they deflect attention from themselves is by criticizing the morals of others.
Yes.
It's like a preemptive moral strike.
Yes.
As I said, I think those who are saying Trump is a threat to democracy are themselves actually the threat to democracy.
It feels like we're getting to a place where the rest of us know too much. Do you know what I mean? It's easier to live in a society where you don't really know what the people in charge are doing or why they're doing it. But now, thanks, I would say, largely to X,
yeah,
I think that's fair to say that.
Yeah.
We do know a lot. Not everything, but we know a lot. And I wonder, what happens next now that we know all this? The kidnapper's shown us his face. What happens?
I think if Trump wins, we can do some house cleaning and shed light on things. All the X platform does is adhere to freedom of speech within the bounds of the law.
Yes.
And if people want to change the laws, they can change the laws. And it's like X in different countries. The censor in countries where censorship is the law, we don't try to push American laws in other countries. but we do try to stick to the law in any given country. That's what we're doing. We open source our algorithm. We try to be as transparent as possible. But those who want to push lies obviously hate truth and transparency.
Yes.
Because it shows them to be liars. You look at that, like how outrageous it was that Kamala in the presidential debate kept pushing the Fine People hoax. They know the Fine People hoax is false. Trump would never support Nazis in Nazi rally. It's absurd. And he explicitly said that in that same speech that you must condemn anyone who has Nazi tendencies in the strongest possible terms. And yet, despite knowing that to be false, the people who wrote the speech for the Kamala puppet put the Fine People hoax in the presidential debate, deliberately lying. Again,
if she wins, how can they let X continue in its current form, in its current role in American society?
They won't. They will try to shut it down by any means possible.
What do you mean by any means possible?
Either they'll try to pass laws, they'll try to prosecute the company, prosecute me. The amount of lawfare that we're seeing taking place is outrageous. There are many examples, but the Department of Justice, for example, launched a huge lawsuit against SpaceX for failing to hire asylum seekers.
Come on. Asylum seekers?
Not asylum, those who've been granted asylum seekers. Now there's also a law called the International Traffic and Arms Regulations that because SpaceX develops advanced missile technology that can be used in nuclear ICBMs, that we have to be very careful with who we hire. We can only hire someone if they're a permanent resident or a citizen. That's what the ITAR law says. Then there's another law that says that you cannot discriminate against asylum seekers. So we're damned if you do, damned if you don't. The DOJ did a massive lawsuit against SpaceX for failing to hire asylum seekers, even though it is illegal for us to hire asylum seekers under ITAR law. This is an actual thing that's going on. And they can only do a fairly small number of lawsuits every year. So why did they pick this one?
Because you
lawfare.
X.
Yeah, lawfare. It's like that famous quote from Beria, Stalin's chief torturer and head of the secret police. Beria said, "Show me the man and I'll show you the crime."
Exactly.
We have so many laws that it is actually impossible to do business, impossible to operate without being some law, because you have laws like the ones I just gave you where both things are illegal.
Yes, they contradict one another.
They contradict one another. It's illegal to discriminate against asylum seekers in jobs, but it's also illegal for us to hire asylum seekers.
But it discredits the law.
They just chose one. They chose the one law and ignored the other one. And the Department of Justice at federal level prosecuted SpaceX for that.
What do you think?
It's mad.
It also discredits the idea of law, which some of us want to take seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. This affects both the perception of American justice and the reality of it.
Yes.
So, no, I'm actually a big fan of the American justice system, and I think on balance, we've still have an excellent judicial system. We still have judges that care about the letter and intent of the law, not just the letter, but also the intent of the law.
Yes.
But something that people should be concerned about is that there's an increasing movement to place activists. If you look at who did the Biden administration confirm as federal judges and who are being confirmed at the state level in foreign states, increasingly it is not judges who care about justice or they don't care about following the law. They care about social justice, not justice.
Right.
What they call social justice. Activists as judges. Now you got a real problem. If that continues, we will not have a real justice system.
Or a real country.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. But again, your purchase of X has been, I think it's fair to say, even if I hated it, I would say this because it's true, it's been pivotal in American politics and in American society. Do you think they could shut you down if the Democrats continue to hold power?
They'll unequivocally try.
Yeah.
And if they get a majority in the Senate and House and the presidency, then they can simply pass a law and delete Section 230. So simply make us liable for what anyone says on a platform with, like, at this point, almost 600 million monthly active users.
Yeah.
Which is impossible. That's like trying to regulate speech in a country.
Yeah.
So
a big country.
Yeah, it'd just be instantly bankrupt.
But I bet they wouldn't withdraw legal immunity from the vaccine makers at the same time, would they?
No, that's unlikely.
Just as long as we're withdrawing legal liability protection. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole vaccine debate is a long one. I'm not anti-vaccine in general. I think we want to exercise caution with use of vaccines, but in the absence of vaccines, there would be a lot more, I think, people that have died. Like we want the smallpox vaccine. That was a good one.
It seems a good one.
Yeah, smallpox will kill you.
Killed a lot of people.
It killed a lot of people. A lot of people would die of smallpox, and a lot of people would get polio.
For sure.
Yeah. We had a president who had polio.
Oh yeah. There's still people, you meet people today in their 80s who were limping from childhood polio.
Right. It's good that we don't have that, and vaccines played a major role in that. So that doesn't mean that vaccines should not have any scrutiny. Of course they should. We should be making sure that the quality control on vaccines is incredibly good if we're giving them to children and whatnot. And we shouldn't force people to take vaccines.
That itself is a controversial statement, that we shouldn't force people.
We shouldn't force people to take vaccines, no. Yeah.
So just to re-ask...
I believe in freedom.
Yeah, I've noticed.
America's supposed to be the land of liberty, freedom and opportunity. So that we try to, as much as possible, maximize people's individual liberty, and that we try to be a country where you succeed based on your talent and hard work.
Yes.
Those are two fundamental values. That's what's made America great. And if we lose those, our decline will be swift.
What do you, if you had to bet, does freedom reassert itself in America or not?
That's why I think part of why this election is so pivotal. I think with the Trump administration, I think we can improve the liberty of Americans. I think we need to have sensible deregulation, where we keep the regulations that matter. Like we don't want to destroy important habitats or encourage oil spills or anything like that. But there are so many regulatory agencies that have overlapping responsibility that we are smothering progress. And we can't build a high-speed rail in America. Look at the ridiculous high-speed rail project in California, where they've spent $7 billion, and all they've got to show for it is a 1,600-foot section of concrete with no rails on it. There's a picture of it online.
So it's not that fast yet. We wouldn't say it's high speed at this point, or even rail.
It doesn't even have rail on it. Maybe by now they put some rail on it, but it's this comically small section of rail. $7 billion has been spent, most of it in like environmental consulting, and I don't know where, but clearly not in building high-speed rail. There are so many different regulatory agencies and so many laws and regulations that prevent progress that if this continues, we simply won't be able to get anything done.
It does seem like the engineers are not getting rich. It's the environmental consultants, the climate consultants, the DEI consultants. A whole consultant class seems to be getting richer by the year, where people with actual skills, the ones that bring actual progress.
Useful things, products and services that you can use.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is a trend.
Things that if you were like traveling on a desert island, you'd want those people, but you wouldn't want environmental consultants.
They seem undercompensated.
It's like you're going to starve.
Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
who are actual builders that get things done? And every year we're making it harder in America for actual builders to get things done. We're in this like weird Ayn Rand Atlas Shrugged scenario, where there's yet another regulation, yet another rule, and there's that phrase in Atlas Shrugged: "Oh, you'll manage. Oh, you'll manage. Oh, you'll manage." It's like eventually you're like, can't get anything done.
Why the hostility though toward people with meaningful skills? It's not a neutral posture they have.
Yeah.
I mean, they're enriching themselves obviously by creating fake jobs because they have no skills and they don't have creative power. So I understand that. But why do they hate people who do have creative power and actual skills? I don't understand that.
I'm not sure I understand it either, because it's difficult for me to put myself in a mindset, because I'm someone who believes in construction. I build things. That's what I do. Yeah. I build cars. I build rockets. I build satellite internet. I've spent thousands of hours, tens of thousands of hours in factories, building up factories. I can't really put myself in the mind of say someone who would want to do crime, because I don't want to do crime.
Yeah.
I don't want to enjoy hurting other people. I don't enjoy hurting other people. So I have a hard time imagining why would somebody do that.
Yes.
In an extreme case, you can't put yourself in the mind of, say, a Jeffrey Dahmer, where you're like a cannibalistic serial killer, because you're not a cannibalistic serial killer. I don't get it.
It's not a fetish you can relate to.
It's not. I do think this is in the sort of well-meaning sort of liberal mindset. I know I have many good friends who have they have deep empathy for their fellow human beings.
Good.
And they care. But the challenge that they have is that they've often grown up in a very sheltered existence, where everyone around them is nice and civilized, and they just really don't encounter people who have uncontrolled violent tendencies, or like hurting people. They've just always grown up in a sort of kumbaya, everyone is nice, hippie commune situation.
Minneapolis pre-riots. Yeah.
Yeah.